Okay, let's unpack this. Did you know that something as, well, seemingly ordinary as margarine and shortening makes up a global market worth over $15 billion?
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Really one of those quiet giants in the food world.
Exactly. It's fueling this massive industry that, most of us probably don't even think twice about.
Hmm.
So today we're doing a deep dive. We've got the Global Margarine Shortening Market Report 2025 here from Cognitive Market Research.
Right, a solid source.
And our mission really is to pull out the key numbers, the trends, the projections for this market. We're looking at 2021 all the way out to 2033.
And what those figures tell you, right? About global consumption, industry demands.
Precisely. So let's kick off with that big picture, the global snapshot. In 2021, this market was worth just over $15.2 billion.
$15.2 billion.
And it's projected to grow, hitting more than $16.2 billion by 2025.
Okay, so steady growth there.
Yeah, and then keep climbing to an estimated $18.4 billion by 2033.
$18.4 billion.
That works out to a compound annual growth rate, the
Yeah.
CAGR, of about 1.6% globally. Steady, consistent growth for such a foundational product.
Yeah, 1.6% globally. But what's really striking, I think, is how that steady global figure hides, well, completely different stories when you look region by region, country by country.
Ah, right. The average doesn't tell the whole story.
Exactly. That 1.6% CAGR, it's just an average. The data underneath shows, significant variations, reflects diverse consumer habits, different industrial needs, even varying economic development stages across the world.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so let's start digging into that. North America, where does that stand?
Okay, North America.
The report shows revenues there over $4.3 billion back in 2021.
43.61 million, yeah.
And it's anticipated to grow to nearly $5 billion by 2033. So that's a regional ZGR of about 1.2%.
Just over 1.2%, yes. And within North America, the U.S. is, well, undeniably the dominant force.
I'd imagine so.
It was already almost a $3 billion market in 2021,
Right.
$2.9 billion. And it's projected to add roughly another, $450 million by 2033, showing really consistent growth, around 1.3% annually.
Okay.
Canada, while smaller, is also growing steadily, projecting over $465 million by 2033.
Still significant.
Definitely. And Mexico, though it's a large market, over $1 billion in 2021, it actually shows the slowest growth in the region, just under 1% annually.
Interesting. So what does that suggest? A mature market, maybe?
I think that's exactly it. It suggests a pretty mature market in North America. Growth seems driven more by, established food manufacturing and stable consumption rather than rapid expansion or, new market penetration.
Got it. Okay, from North America, let's hop across the pond to Europe.
Right, Europe.
The European market for margarine and shortening, it was around $2.6 billion in 2021.
2.66 billion, yes.
And projected to reach over $3 billion by 2033. So the regional KGR there is about 1.28%, slightly higher than North America.
Just a bit, yeah. And Europe presents a really diverse landscape. Well, you have countries like the UK, Germany, France. They show steady but kind of slower growth, all hovering around 1.1% annually.
Whoa.
So, for instance, the UK expected to grow from about 220 million in 2021 to nearly 250 million by 2033. Germany, France, similar modest growth.
Right.
Italy, on the other hand, is a bit of a standout there. It's growing faster, almost 1.5% annually, projected to reach nearly 350 million by 2033.
Interesting. Any reason why Italy might be higher?
The report doesn't specify, but it could be linked to its strong food processing sector or specific dietary patterns.
Yeah.
Then conversely, you have Russia growing much slower, just under 0.9%.
Okay.
But the real outlier in Europe is Spain.
Oh.
It clocks in with the highest GGR in the region, over 2% annually, 2.01% to be exact.
Wow, that's quite a jump compared to the others.
It is. Starting at around 108 million in 2021, it's set to jump to over 132 million by 2033. That growth rate is almost double the regional average.
So what could be behind that in Spain?
Well, this faster growth could point to a few things. Perhaps, evolving dietary preferences, maybe a particularly robust food service sector there, or even successful new product innovations that are really resonating with Spanish consumers.
Makes sense.
And of course, we also see contributions from other European countries like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, and the rest, all adding to this varied regional picture.
That is a significant difference within one continent. Speaking of significant growth, let's talk Asia Pacific.
Yes, APAC. Definitely a region to watch.
The market there was just under 2.8 billion in 2021, projected to climb over 3.5 billion by 2033. That's demonstrating a stronger regional CGR of almost 2%, 1.9%.
1.9%, yeah. A strong showing.
So what's driving that higher growth over there?
That's a great question. And the report really highlights its combination of factors. Massive populations, for one,
Right.
and also rapidly evolving food industries. China is a huge contributor, naturally, leading the region with growth over 2% annually, projected to reach nearly 727 million by 2033.
727 million just in China.
Just in China. Japan also shows robust growth, almost 2% annually, expected to hit over 668 million by 2033.
Okay.
India, another massive market, of course, growing solidly at nearly 1.8% annually, projected over 350 million.
Still very strong growth.
Absolutely. And South Korea is particularly strong, too, over 2.1% annual growth.
Wow.
But within Asia-Pacific, there's actually a really compelling story emerging from Taiwan.
Taiwan, what's happening there?
It actually boasts the highest growth rate in the entire region, over 2.1% annually, just edging out South Korea.
Higher than China even, in terms of rate.
In terms of the rate, yes, 2.127% CAGR. Its revenues are projected to jump from about 111 million in 2021 to over 146 million by 2033.
Fascinating. So what's the overall driver in APAC?
When you consider the sheer scale of these populations, right, and the rapid development of their food sectors, particularly in areas like bakery, confectionery, processed foods, it's pretty clear why this region is such a powerhouse for margarine and shortening demand.
Makes sense. Those sectors rely heavily on these fats.
Precisely. And countries like Australia, Singapore, and those across Southeast Asia also play a significant role in that regional total.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's shift our focus now to South America.
South America, right.
The market here was nearly $1 billion in 2021, 966 million.
966 million, yeah.
And projected to reach over 1.1 billion by 2033. That's a regional CGR of almost 1.4%, 1.395%.
Yep, solid growth there too.
So how do the specific countries play into that figure?
The report shows Brazil as a really significant player. Its market's growing from around 360 million in 2021 to over 434 million by 2033. That's about a 1.6% annual growth rate.
Higher than the regional average.
A little bit, yeah. Argentina also shows solid performance, projected to reach nearly 180 million by 2033, growing at about 1.5% annually.
Okay.
And then you have other countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile also contributing to the market.
So what do these growth rates imply for South America?
Well, they seem to imply a growing food manufacturing sector across the region, likely driven by evolving consumer preferences towards more processed foods, more baked goods, things that rely heavily on these kinds of ingredients.
Right, the convenience factor, perhaps.
Could be part of it, definitely.
Okay, and what about the Middle East? This market registered around 830 million in 2021.
830.49 million, yeah.
Expected to grow to nearly 975 million by 2033, with a KGR of about 1.4%. So similar to South America's rate.
Very similar, yes. 1.409% TAGR. And the Middle East market is quite dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Saudi Arabia, for instance, projects consistent growth over 1.2% annually, reaching over 257 million by 2033.
Okay.
Turkey is also a key player there, expected to reach over 160 million by 2033, though growing a bit slower, about 1% annually.
Still growing.
Still growing, yes.
Huh.
The UAE also contributes significantly, growing at over 1.2% annually. Similar rate to Saudi Arabia.
Are there specific factors influencing Middle East growth?
The report suggests factors like increasing disposable incomes in parts of the region, rapid urbanization, and a growing food processing industry that's catering to both local consumption and increasingly regional exports.
Ah, okay. Interesting dynamic.
And you also have Egypt, Qatar, and the rest of the Middle East adding to that total.
Got it. Now, here's a region that seems truly eye-opening from the numbers. Africa.
Yes, Africa. The growth rates here are really something.
It showcases one of the fastest growth rates globally for this market. Started at over 3.6 billion in 2021.
3.65 billion, a huge base already.
And projected to surge to nearly 4.8 billion by 2033. That marks a really robust 2.1% CAGR. That's significant.
It absolutely is, 2.104%.
Yeah.
And it really highlights, I think, a major shift in consumption patterns happening across the continent.
And within Africa. Any standouts?
Oh, yes. Nigeria is the standout performer. It recorded the highest TAGR globally.
Globally, not just in Africa.
Globally, almost 2.5% annually,
Yeah.
2.468%.
Wow. What are the actual figures there?
Right. Its revenues are projected to grow from over $1.2 billion in 2021 to a massive $1.69 billion by 2033.
Incredible growth. What's fueling that in Nigeria?
Well, the report suggests it isn't just about population growth, though that's a factor. It's also being fueled by things like a booming informal bakery sector
Ah, okay.
and a rising preference for affordable, processed convenience foods. That makes these basic fats pretty indispensable.
Makes sense. What about other parts of Africa?
South Africa also shows strong growth, moving from over a billion, $1.09 billion in 2021, to over $1.3 billion by 2033. That's about 1.7% annually.
Still very strong.
Very strong. And the rest of Africa category is also contributing substantially. It clearly indicates that demand for processed foods and bakery items is really on the rise across much of the continent.
So zooming back out then, we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers. What does this all mean when we look at the big picture again?
Well, we see this global margarine and shortening market experiencing, steady overall growth.
That 1.6% global CAGR.
Right. But with clearly varied regional stories underneath. Some growing slowly and steadily, others really accelerating.
It's easy to get lost in all these billions, but when you pause and think about it, a multi-billion-dollar market for something as, well, unassuming as margarine or shortening,
Exactly.
it really makes you think about how deeply these seemingly minor commodities underpin our entire global food system.
It does. And the source report reinforces that the main reasons, the overarching drivers for this consistent growth, are things we've touched on. Increasing consumption trends globally, continued population growth naturally,
Right.
and the evolving demands from the food industry itself for specific functionalities, price points, and so on.
And as we saw, regions like Africa, parts of Asia Pacific, specifically Nigeria and Taiwan, standing out with those high congestions, they're really leading the charge.
Yeah, they signal where a lot of the future growth might be concentrated.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener, tuning in?
Well, I think
It's clearly not just about fats and oils, is it? It's about understanding these foundational elements of our global food systems.
exactly. And how seemingly mundane products actually reflect these massive economic and social shifts happening worldwide.
Yeah.
And this kind of data, it raises an important question, I think, something maybe for you to consider.
Go on.
How might these trends we're seeing in the margarine and shortening market, this varied growth, this shift towards certain regions, how might that influence things like global food policies or public health initiatives or even sustainable agriculture practices in the coming decade?
That's a really interesting point.
As demand shifts and grows,
Mm.
particularly in emerging economies in Africa and Asia, it could really reshape everything from, say, how certain oilseed crops are grown and traded to maybe how nutritional guidelines are formed or adapted in different countries.
So the ripple effects could be quite significant.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on, beyond just the market numbers themselves.